Hello, my name is Kayla White. I am a doctorate student at the University of New England. Today I'm going to share my exciting professional study that I've been working on for EDU 801 titled The Counseling Role of School-Based Speech and Language Pathologist. This presentation is a culmination of my initial journey into the doctoral process, and it will tackle an issue that I've seen firsthand throughout my career. So let me quickly give you some context on why I chose this topic. For over a decade, I have worked as a speech and language pathologist in the public school setting here where I reside in Connecticut. And this professional experience has been invaluable as it's placed me squarely at the intersection of communication challenges and students' social emotional needs. I've consistently observed that communication disorders do not exist in a vacuum. They profoundly impact a student's confidence, social interactions, and overall well-being. So this reality has repeatedly required me to utilize counseling skills, yet my own training and that of many colleagues left me questioning the profession's preparedness for these critical moment-to-moment situations. My connection to this study is strengthened by my dual role. I not only practice as an SLP in the schools, I have not only practiced as an SLP in the schools, but I have also served, and I currently serve as a full-time faculty member at Southern Connecticut State University, which is the very institution where I earned my degrees. This unique vantage point allows me to see both the field realities, what SLPs are dealing with daily, and the gaps in graduate training. I'm positioned to bridge this gap, connecting the practical, on-the-ground experiences of practitioners in the Connecticut SLP community with the necessary academic preparation. The goal of my professional study is to take a deep qualitative dive into this issue. Specifically, I'm proposing a qualitative study to explore how school-based speech and language pathologists in Connecticut public schools currently address the social, emotional, and mental well-being of students as it relates to their communication abilities. The core of this research will focus on several key areas of professional involvement: how SLPs are involved in defining the counseling aspect of their own scope of practice in the school setting, their own assessment of their preparedness to handle these counseling demands, how they navigate professional boundaries, knowing what's within their scope and when to refer, and finally, the effectiveness of interprofessional collaboration with other school support staff. My study is fundamentally built upon these 6 key concepts. These keywords represent the main constructs of this study that I'm proposing. We're not just talking about therapy here, we're talking about the school-based speech and language pathologist and their counseling scope of practice. The problem stems from the profound effects that communication disorders have on a student's social emotional well-being. The solution lies in examining the adequacy of graduate training and improving models of interprofessional collaboration within the school environment. To put it simply, there is a critical gap in practice. While SLPs are crucial for supporting communication skills, which are intimately tied to social emotional well-being, this intersection pushes them into situations where counseling skills are necessary to address the social, emotional, and behavioral aspects of a student's communication disorder. This problem can be broken down into 3 interconnected issues: insufficient training, highlighting that graduate programs are currently providing inadequate counseling training to truly prepare SLPs for the demands they will face in the school setting. Competency gap. This lack of training leads to a disconnect between the real-world needs of their students and the SLP's perceived competency and preparation to meet those needs. And third, unclear boundaries. So finally, this is all complicated by a lack of clearly defined boundaries. SLPs often struggle with knowing precisely when a student's needs extend beyond their scope and requires an immediate referral to a school counselor, a psychologist, or a social worker. These 3 problems directly lead to the 4 research questions that will guide my study. Question 1 is about challenges and barriers. What are the perceived challenges and barriers that school-based SLPs face when servicing students with communication and counseling needs, including social, emotional, and behavioral needs? This question seeks to define the scope and nature of the daily difficulties. Question 2 is about defining the counseling role. How do school-based SLPs currently define and practice their counseling role, particularly in navigating those professional boundaries and determining the necessity for referral to other school professionals? This is about understanding current on-the-ground professional interpretation. Question 3 is about training and development needs. What are the perceived graduate level training and professional development needs of SLPs to effectively bridge the gap between their current preparation and the demands of their counseling-related role? This question seeks solutions for the training gaps. And finally, is about interprofessional collaboration. How do school-based SLPs perceive the necessity for and effectiveness of collaboration with other school professionals to provide holistic support for students with diverse needs? The answer here will point toward better models for team-based student support. The literature I reviewed strongly supports the existence of the critical gap I've identified. First, we have training gaps. Dowd and colleagues in 2020 found that there is insufficient counseling training within accredited CSD graduate programs, which leaves new SLPs feeling unprepared for the counseling demands of their role. 2 is self-efficacy concerns. This lack of training contributes to the competency problem. Mand and colleagues in 2023 revealed a clear gap between the actual needs of students and the SLP's perceived competency or self-efficacy in counseling. They know the student needs the support, but they doubt their own skills to provide it effectively. And then 3rd, boundary navigation. The work of Lieberman and Yee highlights the complexity that SLPs face in determining when a referral is necessary. It's not a simple yes or no question and requires significant judgment. This boundary navigation is a critical point of stress and uncertainty for practitioners. As I move forward, I've identified both methodological and practical hurdles, as well as a focused plan to deepen my literature review. One of the main challenges is that there is limited research specifically focused on the school-based SLP's counseling experiences, so I need to be careful in selecting the most appropriate qualitative methodology. It will also be challenging to gather clear and consistent data on the defining of professional boundaries across different settings. In terms of concerns, I need to ensure my research captures the diverse experiences of SLPs from different Connecticut public school environments. I must also carefully balance the breadth and depth in exploring my multiple research questions and remain sensitive to the fact that I am exploring potential concerns around professional competency perceptions. To address these challenges, my literature search plan is focused on 4 key areas. I need to expand my search a bit more to include trauma-informed care models in school settings, as this is a lens many support professionals are now adopting. I will also be reviewing interprofessional collaboration models that have proven effective in various educational contexts. Examining counseling training curricula in other health professions may also provide a roadmap for improving CSD graduate training. And finally, I must investigate state-specific scope of practice guidelines for SLPs, which will be an essential context for my Connecticut-based study. In conclusion, my professional study aims to give voice to the school-based SLP, highlight the critical role that we have in counseling and the demands of that role, and ultimately provide actionable insights for graduate training and professional practice. Thank you so much for your time.